In this video, we're going to go over how to take a project into Green Building Studio for energy analysis of the entire building. So the first step you need to do is make sure you have your configured project with the rooms based on area and volume computations, and make sure that your rooms are also going all the way up to the roof. So, for example, you don't want to see rooms inside of your building looking like that. So once you have all of your rooms laid out, and I am viewing my rooms in section using the visibility graphics under view and visibility graphics. And if you go down to your rooms, make sure to turn on interior fill, and that'll let you see your room in section. And you can then move this section around as needed. Let's get the project browser back. You can then, in plan, just move that section you've already configured to show that the interior fill of the rooms to wherever it needs to be, so that you can check it again, make sure all these new rooms you're cutting through are going through. I'm ignoring interior closets right now because that won't really matter. The overall building use in a closet is not a conditioned space. So with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to export to an XML file. So you come up to the big R, go to export. It's called a GBS file. It actually is just an XML file, but I think this stands for Green Building XML file. Click on that. Make sure your location is where you want it to be. In this case, for just this test, we're going to switch it to Philadelphia. Search. And that's good enough. Then we're going to make sure that location's right. Make sure your ground plane is at the right location. Sometimes it's not. We're exporting rooms. Spaces if you're using Revit MEP. For this, simple with shaded surfaces will work, including thermal mass properties. That is if you have carefully configured all of your wall structures on the exterior building to be the proper thermal properties. So chances are that's not the case, and I'll show you how to adjust our values in Green Building Studio. This looks pretty good. Go to details. Make sure when you expand you don't see any yellow exclamation points or yellow triangle with a black exclamation point. That would mean that one of your rooms is not configured correctly and it's not touching all 6 sides that it needs to be touching for filling up a room. We're going to click Next. We're going to save this file. And once it's saved, you're basically done with Revit. So the next thing you need to do is we're going to go to Green Buildings, gbs.autodesk.com, and once you're here, we're going to sign in. Use your Autodesk ID. And once you're in here, we're going to create a new project. And we're going to get the closest building type. This will determine population of the building, how many people you're trying to take care of. For this test, we're just doing single family. These are the different times that it's open. So, for example, if this is really a house, it's probably at least a 12-hour a day, 7 days a week facility. Oh, make sure to say it's a test project. It's not an actual project. It's going to ask us again for the location. You can again put in the exact address. But again, we're going to just very simply go to Philadelphia. If you want a more precise location, you can also grab the building, this little green building, and you can move it to exactly where you might want it to be. Like something like that. And over here, approximate address for the location you've come up with. You want to make sure your time zone's correct and your time's correct. And then it picks the closest weather station. And yes, you are authorized to share this product data or project data with this made-up project to Green Building Studio. So once you have the project created, what we're going to do is click on that project. So we go to it, and the end result is we're going to upload our GBXML file, but what we probably want to set up before we do that is the project defaults. So let's click on this. Gives you the basic name. We don't need it. This setup is assuming if we have photovoltaic panels wherever is a nod window, which is a little ridiculous. For the spaces, what this is you can set the program default. So condition type. Probably a lot of the projects you're going to work on are going to be heated and cooled, but depending on your location, it could be a different type of heating, cooling, venting system. Space type. This is where you can be a little bit more specific on what you want the space to be. In this case, I'm doing a single family house. Lighting power density. If you have assumptions for that, you can do that. Same thing with equipment power density. That's if you're doing a building with a lot of equipment in it. And you don't have to set all of these because it's going to make some assumptions. So zones, this is just trying to get your mechanical systems working correctly. So let's say cooling will turn on at 75 degrees and it'll turn off when it cools the house to 72. Heating might come on at 65 degrees and turn off at 68. And this would be how many cubic feet per minute per air per person. So depending on what use you pick for your space is also going to change the population of the people in there. I'm going to turn that off. Surfaces. This is probably one of the most important pages. This surfaces and openings. So what this does is it establishes all of your R values for all of your walls. So let's say you have in our case we have a pitched roof. So you could say what you want that to be, and you can see it says the R value right here. So you want to get a construction type that's pretty similar to what you have, and select the R value that works with that. So this is exterior walls. It's going to be all of our exterior walls. For the most part, we can have a wood-framed exterior wall. Ceiling, that doesn't matter. Underground ceiling. Interior walls, the insulation inside the building doesn't matter as much. Underground wall, that could be your foundation walls below grade, so you can apply an R value to that. Interior floor, again, it doesn't matter if it's on the inside of the building. Slab on grade, if you have insulation below your slab on grade, you would want to select the right R value for it. And your doors. Your doors are probably an R2 door, or R5 would be a pretty good door. So opening, same thing. What this is it's talking about the type of glazing in your windows. So you could say my north glazing is, scroll on down, see what we have. You can see a triple low E glass. And what these are all showing is it's showing the solar heat gain coefficient, and the transmitted light. So you can work through this and see which types are the closest to the windows you're going to use. I'm going to go with the low E clear. And a lot of times you just want to, you can actually, just with north glazing, the reason why it's separating north from non-north is sometimes you don't need all the coatings for north glazing, as it's not going to be getting much direct light. So you can pick a better glass for your non-north glazing. And you can always play with these in your alternates. So the HVAC and equipment, this is a difficult one to make the selection on. You really almost need an engineer to go through these systems and pick out the right one that you're looking at, because as you can see, there is a lot of systems. So obviously if you're doing some kind of residential work, you might be able to find a more residential piece of equipment. So this is all electric heat residential. But you can go through and get what is the closest system for what you would be looking for. And the most important thing is, if you can't make this decision, leave it blank, go with the default, leave the default for all of your runs, and that way at least you have a simple baseline that they all use the same, all of your different options use the same HVAC equipment, and therefore the adjustments you're making are all just with the insulation, the orientation of the building, the windows, and everything else. And then you're just taking the HVAC out of the equation. Alright, so you can save the changes, save it as default. And we go back to the run list. And here we're going to upload our GBXML file. Now you're going to see it's uploading now, and it's going to start to run based on that baseline defaults that we just set up. Now the new thing that Green Building Studio's been doing the last few years is they now run a whole lot of alternates right with this. So that's what's happening now. All of this below are alternate runs. And what it's doing is it's just tons of different slight changes to the construction of your building. For example, this one has R60 insulation in it. You can see when they finish, the prices come up. Probably if you're not caring much about entry cost, this is a more important category. This one is showing you the BTUs per square foot per year. So if you want to really reduce your energy use, see which one has the lowest in here. Now again, all these alternates are just generated by Green Building Studio. So for these, you have to really do some detective work to see what they're really changing. Or we can just create our own alternate. But it is nice to just look through and see what happens. So if we come down to this R60, you see that is one of the lower numbers throughout here. So insulation alone, you can see the difference between R60 walls and uninsulated. It's pretty significant energy use difference just by that. And you could just keep looking and seeing what reduces it more. Here, this is 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. You could see the energy is going down just by the usage going down. And there is a lot of these. So you can see it's a little ridiculous with how many different options it runs. You'll even see at the, well, it's not even done yet, but you'll even see at the bottom, it experiments with the orientation of the building. So this is rotating your building at these different angles. And what that does is it's showing you how important the rotation and orientation of your building is with its overhangs and windows. So while that runs, I want to show how we can make an alternate. You can also, when it makes all of these, you can select them like this, and you can really, just for your own sanity, start removing the ones that you don't need. So, but right now we're going to do an alternate run. So you want to select the baseline and create a design alternate. And what it does is it now shows you all the changes you can make. Right now, you can see there's no change up here from the defaults. So to make the changes, you can click on lighting, and we can call this one of our alternates. So this is, and this one, let's toy around with our insulation. Since I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm just going to call it insulation 1. And once you've named it, now we can start calling out the different things that we want to change on it. Obviously, you can change the rotation right here under General. So that would be if you want to have different rotations and see what their results end up being. You can see down below the differences in costs for different rotations. So it's something if you're doing it early on, and if you actually have the ability to rotate your building on site, you can evaluate that, but chances are you put your windows where you put your windows for a reason, and you can't just spin your building. You can also change the HVAC units here to the different systems. And when you're in here, it actually shows you a little bit more information. So it helps you understand that in this case, you're seeing 4-pipe fan coil units. And then when you click on it, you don't see the information. So if you hover over this, you could see a little bit more information that might help with your selection. Lighting, probably going to keep the lighting all the same. Roof, keep the roof the same, but it is the different assumptions for our value. And construction types, you'll see in the handout that is attached with this lesson, I have the Green Building Studio assumptions and conceptual constructions. You can also look it up on the Autodesk website for Green Building Studio conceptual constructions, and it'll explain to you what a metal frame roof without insulation really is and what its R value is. So you're not just looking at this and saying, I don't know what that means. It gives you the rest of the information. So you can come in here and we can change our wall types too. So let's say we want to change this building to some structural insulated panels. So we can change it on our walls. Do it all the way around. And with that, you'll see up here in our summary in red is what's changed with this alternative. So I'm gonna click Add Alternative, and now I'm going to say Run Added Alternatives. And once you click Run Added Alternatives, you'll see down here there should be a little, see if it shows it. This will start the update once it's actually running its test. Let's see if that actually went. Once all of your alternates have run, click on the Run Charts. This gives you a visual of your total energy uses, so you can see which ones are doing better than others. And if you go to your Run List, what you want to do is then find the type that you want to really analyze. So Could be any one of the runs that you've done. I'm going to just pick this one for an example. And this goes over all of the different options. So right here is the base run. That's just with the project defaults. And here, what we're actually really trying to look at is the design alternative. So you can see this design alternative with the changes that I've made in this alternative has dropped the energy cost fairly significantly. And it also is using, it has lower life cycle energy, and it has actually about the same BTUs of square foot a year. And I think that's because this one just has a different amount of days that it's actually being used. So the cost is saved by less days that the project is being used. So you can open up all these items. These are all assumptions for how much energy you could possibly generate with all of the non-glass portions of your building. And these are all charts based on the assumptions of your HVAC units. So if I click detail view, it normally shows more. So showing what it's assuming you're using your fuel for hot water and heating, and it's showing how you're using your electricity, cooling, equipment, lights, fans, pumps, and building details and assumptions. This one shows what the U values of all of your pieces of wall is made up, and then how many square feet of your building is with this type of construction. So you can see that you can quickly make these different, all of these different runs, and change the makeup of your building and see what kind of results that has. This shows you some alternatives for your HVAC systems. And that's about it. And then you just keep playing in here. If you ever update your model, I would just load in. You can either delete the other base run, or just upload another base run, another GBXML file. So that's it.